In this video, we're going to show you how to install the headlight on your Nissan Versa located on the front side of your vehicle. Now, once you have your hood open, you want to go ahead and remove this upper cover right here. We want to use our Phillips head screwdriver, and we're going to remove the centers of our buttons here. Yours might be a little bit different. Either way, you want to start by removing these here. And use our trim tool. Pop these out. Set those aside. We're going to continue to remove the rest of the trim buttons here, securing this. Once we have the buttons removed, we can go ahead and lift up on this cover. On the bottom side of the vehicle, on the front lip area here, normally you're going to have a splash shield underneath. If your vehicle has this here, there's going to be 3 10mm bolts across the front side here, and there's going to be 2 plastic clips on either side. You want to go ahead and remove those there. Our particular vehicle, as you can see, does not have that here. So now we're going to go to the left front side over here. And there's going to be some retainers here, plastic buttons, and a bolt right here. Let's go ahead and remove those. I'm going to use our trim tool to go ahead and remove the plastic retainer button right here. And pull that unit out. On the right front side of the lower portion of the bumper, we want to go ahead and remove the pieces of hardware securing this. In our case, the hardware on this side is different from the other side. Across the bottom edge of the bumper, remove any plastic retainer buttons. Using your trim tool, just pop these out. Up underneath the bumper itself, there is the bumper bracket right up here. The bumper itself is held in place with a 10mm bolt going vertical here. In order to gain access, we're going to peel back our fender liner. You can do this by hand, or you can use a plastic trim tool going behind. Peeling this out like so. You're going to gain access to the bolt right up here. And right there is that 10mm bolt. It's a little rusty, but we're going to go ahead, loosen and remove that. Then we're going to go ahead and repeat for the passenger side. We're going to use our 8mm on our 1/4" drive ratchet to go ahead, loosen and remove this bolt. There's the bolt. Now, to disengage the bumper from the fender, there is a bumper clip in the back here. We're going to reach in behind that fender liner and gently tug outward. And you're disconnecting the bumper from the bracket, the bumper bracket inside. And you're going to work your way around the front and just pull forward. You're disengaging the bumper from the bumper bracket underneath the headlamp assembly. We're going to do the same for the driver's side. With all of your clips removed, Again, remove the bumper, set it aside. Now there are 4 bolts holding the headlamp assembly to the vehicle. There's 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one is over on the fender side. Using our 10mm socket, I want to go ahead and remove these bolts. All right, go ahead and set those bolts aside. I'm going to grab that headlamp assembly. Bring that forward. And there is a little button right here that locks into the fender. On the top side, there's a little bracket. You're just going to lift up on that gently and just pull the headlight forward. On the back side, you're going to have your wiring sockets. You want to go ahead and disconnect those. Now on the back side of your headlamp assembly is going to be 3 connectors. It's going to be this one right here, your headlight bulb, and then up here is your 3rd one. We're going to press in on this little tab on the back. I'm going to go ahead and wiggle this off. All right, get that out. On the bulb assembly, the main headlight, you're just going to pull that connector straight off. And then on the upper corner one here, we're going to twist this bulb counterclockwise. We're going to take out the whole socket with it. It's going to make it easier for us to disconnect the harness on the back side. This has a little tab on here. Press in on that, separate this. And if you want, you can go ahead and reinsert this back into the lamp assembly. But either way, it is fully disconnected. We go ahead and remove it from the vehicle and set it aside. Now we're just going to reconnect everything as we disconnected. And take this connector here. This is going to line up with your upper amber light. Line that up, push it on, you're going to feel it and hear it lock into place. Then you have your headlight bulb connector here. It's shaped in a little triangle here, so just simply line that up. Go ahead and push that in. And we have this connector here that's going to plug in to the connector. So line that up, push that on. On the bottom side, you're going to slide it onto this tab on the lamp assembly. That'll lock it into place. And we'll go ahead and reinstall our unit. On the bottom side right here by the fender, you want to make sure that this little tab goes into the little hole in the fender. Lamp pops right into place. Let's go ahead and install the 4 screws. And get that bolt started. We're going to leave that loose. Let's go ahead and install the other 3. Now at this point here, we have all 4 of our bolts installed. We want to go ahead and just grab that headlamp and just gently wiggle it back. You want to make sure that you make the gap from the fender to the headlamp nice and tight. Now I switch over to a hand ratchet here to go ahead and tighten these down. Because we're anchoring plastic to metal, we don't want to over tighten these here. So once that bolt bottoms out, just give it a little bit more. I'm going to continue this process for these here. Make sure that the gap on the fender and the headlamp remains tight when doing this. All right, once that bottoms out, a little bit more, roughly a quarter of a turn or a little bit less than a quarter of a turn once that bottoms out. So it's bottomed out, quarter turn. And then we're going to finish up with the one by the fender. Now at this point here, before we install our bumper and do our complete assembly, you want to go ahead and swap out your driver's side light if that's what you're going to be doing. Always test the lights before you reassemble your bumper in case there's an electric connector, poor connection, or a bulb problem. You always want to double check everything, make sure everything is working so you don't have to do the job twice. Go ahead and check your lights. High beam, low beams. And everything is working good. So let's go ahead and do our reassembly. Now if you go ahead and test your lights and the light pattern is either high or low, you can simply adjust the light beam by going to the back side of the lamp assembly in this dial right here. You can go ahead and turn this here. Now ours is a little old and kind of stuck in its position here, but you can rotate this here. You can put a socket in here and you can actually turn it clockwise or counterclockwise. Now when adjusting something like this here, you only want to go like maybe 2 turns one direction. Check it out. Don't continue to turn this because you can unscrew this here and cause internal damage to the adjustment assembly. So 2 turns clockwise, 2 turns counterclockwise, and see which way that the light is changing and then adjust it accordingly. Now that we've tested our lights, you can grab the cellophane lens protector here. I'm going to peel that off and discard. Now when installing the front bumper, you want to make sure that the edges don't scratch your fenders on the side. So if you have an extra set of hands, that would be helpful. In our case here, we're just going to bring this up and in. And as we're bringing this in, there's tabs on the bumper here that fit inside the lower mounting brackets of the headlamp assemblies. So I want to bring this up, line those up. Now that we have our bumper in its general area, you want to come onto the side here, and the bumper is going to press in to the bumper bracket. So just kind of bump that into place. With that locked in, let's go ahead and do the same for the driver's side. Press the bumper into the notches in your bracket. Go ahead and get the bolt installed here. And once you get that started, a few threads, we'll go ahead and snug it down. Now that you get the bolt started, go ahead and snug that down. Go ahead and tuck our fender liner back into place. And go ahead and repeat for the passenger side. Now on the bottom side here, I want to go ahead and reinstall your installation bits here. If you have a bolt or screws, some of our hardware was damaged when we removed it, so we had to source some other components here. Replacement plastic buttons. Once you've completed this side here, go ahead and do the same for the passenger side. Install the plastic retainers to hold the center portion of the grille. Now that we have the 2 center buttons in, we'll go ahead and install the 2 on the outer edges. Install the upper cover here. You want to make sure you can get it around your windshield washer cover here. So sometimes it's easier just to pop that lid. Bring that down. We want to lift up on our air intake component here, working this over and in. Pop that down into place, pop that cover back on. Once this is in place, let's go ahead and install the plastic pushmans, securing everything in place. I'm going to start with our air intake here. And we'll just continue around here, pushing in our buttons. There you have it, you're all set.
Now we're going to get the vehicle ready to aim the headlights. Start with the tire pressure, making sure all 4 tires are set at the appropriate pressure. Remove any excessive weight that's not normally in the vehicle. Find a wall that you can drive up to where the ground is level. Measure 25 feet away from that wall and mark the ground. Drive your vehicle up to that mark. With the headlights off, look for the center dot in the headlight lens. Measure from the ground to that center dot. You can use a ruler to help you out. Transferring that measurement to the wall, making a mark with some tape. On the driver's side, measure down 4 inches, putting another piece of tape. For the passenger side, you only need to measure down 2 inches. Now turning the headlights on, it is easier to do this at night or in a dark area. Locating your headlight adjuster and using a Phillips head screwdriver, turn your adjuster one way or another to bring the headlight up or down. Once the headlight is adjusted to the tape mark on the wall, move on to the next headlight. If you're confused because the beams seem to blend together, you can always have someone stand in front of the other headlight while you make your adjustments for that one. Now your headlights are aligned and you're all set to go.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.